Yo, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy, Mid Poke Master, and today we're going to be going over my draft analysis in UPL, the Ultimate Power League. So, this is just a fun league. It's kind of serious, has some good players, but this is just more for fun. And while drafting, I was really trying to use mods I've never used before and have always wanted to. So, you can see, if you've ever been in a league with me or seen my other videos, that I'm not using mods that I've normally used. So, I can't remember what draft pick I had. It wasn't the greatest. Let me look it up right now. I was like near the middle or right in the middle. It wasn't really the best for what I wanted, but I definitely got some good Pokemon. So, let me see. Still looking. I was 7th out of 12th. So I was right next to the middle, which isn't really the greatest, but it's not that bad either. So, I could have got some good things, some good mons like Blacephinyon. What else was there at the time? Sorry, this is a little scattered. New computer, still getting used to recording on this. Okay, so tiers. I could have got things like Mew, Clefable, Hoopa Unbound, which is still undrafted, which might have to make some free agent picks for. Just because Hoopa Unbound is still there. Who would not draft Hoopa Unbound? Heck, even Victini was still there. You still got things like Nihilego, Superior, things like that. But for my first pick, I went Mega Venusaur. This thing has great stats. Let me look them up real quick so I can just shut them off for you. Venusaur. Mega Venusaur. 80 HP, 100 attack, 123 defense, 122 special attack, 120 special defense, and 80 speed. That is crazy. It's faster than a lot of Pokemon, so you can outspeed a lot of things that aren't speed invested. It has great bulk with 80 HP, 123 defense, and 120 special defense. That thing can take hits, and it has an amazing ability in Thick Fat, which gets rid of its fire and ice weakness and just makes them a neutrality. It's not weak to them anymore, so the only things that are super effective against them are Psychic and Flying, which not everybody drafts a good Psychic type. Not everybody can draft a good Flying type. There's only so many in the format. But this thing has such good special attack stat that you don't even need to invest in it to do a good chunk to Pokemon. Like this thing, physically defensive Tapu Fini does like 50% to it with a Giga Drain, which is just crazy. It gets things like Leech Seed, Knockoff, EQ, Giga Drain, Synthesis. Heck, if you wanted to, you could set up Grassy Terrain just for a meme, which isn't totally bad. So this Pokemon is just known to be bulky. It can destroy things like... It can just destroy things. Mega Venusaur is just a great pick overall. It just has so much viability and diversity. It can be physically offensive, specially offensive, bulky, Leech Seed. It just does so many different things, and I feel like this is a Pokemon I can bring every single week and not worry about it struggling. So my next pick is... Gotta get a click. Heatran. Amazing tier 1 mon. Synergizes really well with Mega Venusaur. Mega Venusaur, it's weak to Psychic and Flying. Heatran resists both of them. And if a Fire Pokemon comes in, this can just come in and use Flash Fire and get an advantage. It gets things like It gets Fire Blast, Flash Cannon, Great Fire Steel. And that's what most people try to work on, is a good Fairy Dragon Steel and a Fire Water Grass. And so far, I have 2 out of 3 for the not Fairy Dragon Steel, the Fire Water Grass with Mega Venusaur and Heatran. Just a great combination. Not much can defeat both of them, because Mega Venusaur will take the ground type and fighting type attacks. Heatran is weak to. Is it weak to anything else besides fire and ground? Not fire, ground and fighting. And it's also weak to water, which Venusaur can take amazingly well. And then, what's it called? Heatran can take the, like I said before, the flying second types. This thing's a good stealth rocker, can be scarfed, leftovers, life orb. It's a good bulky pivot. It can come in, take an attack, and deal a lot of damage back. And it's just a great mon that I wish seen ever since Sun and Moon came out. It hasn't seen as much love, but it still really is good. It deals with all the new fairy types. It's just a great mon overall. My next pick was Rotomwash. Now you might be saying, you're just stealing the picks from A Drive. But no, Rotomwash, Heatran, and Mega Venusaur is an amazing Fairy Water Grass score. Rotomwash having the Levitate ability. Sorry about that. With its Levitate ability, being able to take those ground type moves for Heatran. And with this only being weak to grass, it can take a Venusaur and Heatran can both take those grass type attacks amazing. This is another fire type switch in. It can take a good amount of fighting attacks. It gives me a Volt Switcher, which most people try to have like a fast electric type for Volt Switch. A good electric water type. Finish off my Fire Water Grass core, which most people try to do with with mediocre stats. I mean, it's good. It also gives me defog now. This thing can set up screens. 50 HP, 65 attack, 107 in both defenses, 105 special attack, and 86 speed. So another fast bulky mon that can deal a lot of damage. And it can Will-O-Wisp, Toxic, and Thunder Wave. So whatever my opponent has, I can prep for all of that. Don't be surprised if 1 week I just bring 3 status and just Hydro Pump or T-Bolt. Just so whatever comes in, I can status no matter what. I just feel like that'd be a cool set to run, just 3 status. My next pick, which I felt was very much needed, was Nino King. Everything I've drafted so far has been pretty defensive oriented, but I haven't had that one big wall breaker. And I decided, 4th round, Nino King needed to be mine. With Sheer Force Life Orb, gets rid of the Life Orb recoil, and I can just go to town, physically or specially. 105 attack and 85 special attack with Life Orb, and with Sheer Force, there's not much, if any, switch in. Because you get things like Ice Beam, Superpower, T-Bolt, Sludge Wave, Focus Blast, or people like to say Focus Miss, EQ, Earth Power. Just literally anything you wanted, it would be here. You'll never have to run a hidden power. Just because you're strong enough, even if it's not a 4 times super effective move on some mons, you'll be strong enough just to kill it anyway. And it gets things like Toxic Spikes, Stealth Rocks. Just can also be a setup mon. I'm sorry I can't speak today. A setup mon in that perspective and bulk, with just T-Spikes and Spikes. And it just is a really great wall breaker, and it's just a really good mon in general. So for my 5th round pick, I decided it was finally time to go into Tier 3. Not many things had been taken yet in Tier 3, but so I decided to get Floris. Helps me finish, it gives me 2/3 done of my Fairy Dragon Steel, with Heatran being my Steel and Floris being my Fairy. Gives me a Wish Passer, gives me a good Fairy type that just walls dragon types. It has some amazing stats. Usually only need to run one offensive move, which is usually Moonblast. 78 HP, 65 attack, 68 defense, 112 special attack, 154 special defense, and 75 speed, which is just incredible. You don't even need to invest into the special defense just because you're already bulky enough. You usually just run things like Wish or Synthesis, Moonblast, Aromatherapy, Protect, Toxic. Now it even gets Defog now. It just has so many. It doesn't have the biggest move pool, but your opponent's never gonna know the exact moves that you're gonna bring. You can bring so many hazard moves that it's gonna be hard for your opponent to guess which exact moves you are bringing. It's just a great Pokemon. And you can see, I'm usually more an offensive player with not much bulk. But in this league, everybody's just drafting so much offense that I figured I should go defensive and just be able to outstall them. So my next pick was Minho. And I couldn't believe this thing was still here in the 6th round. There was no switch into a reckless high jump kick. It just destroys everything. Not even a Celesteela could switch in. Whatever is out, you're just gonna have to let it die. It's not gonna be able to survive. You usually just run high jump kick, stone edge, knock off, U-turn, poison jab, drain punch. It's just a great mon with great offensive prowess. Even gets things like Swords Dance and Work Up if you want to run like a semi-special set, which would be kind of fun to use. It's just Minho, I've always had trouble when prepping for it and being able to prep against it. So I figured I could just use it and have my opponent have trouble prepping against it instead of having me trouble. Like, I can just Choice Scarf U-turn, and if my opponent thinks I'm going to high jump kick, I'll just U-turn out on their face so they think they have a switch in. And honestly, it's just a great mon, and I'm excited to use it for the first time. So my next pick was Yuxi. Such a great bulky mon. It gets U-turn, Stealth Rock, Memento, great stats and 75 HP, 75 attack, 130 defense, 75 special attack, 130 special defense, and 95 speed. So again, faster than a lot of things, a lot of bulky mons. It gets Calm Mind. This thing would be so much better if it had something like, if it had Recover or Roost. This thing even gets Heal Bell. It's a good screen setter. There's just so many different moves you could run with this. It even gets Foul Play. It's just a great mon. Just another great bulky mon, like I've been saying. It's just one of those good mons that people sleep on in Draft League, and it's usually drafted late. And I just felt like I needed it for this team. My next pick was Aerodactyl. I needed the speed. My highest speed stat was 105 on Minho. I wanted something that could outspeed things like Weavile, Swallow. And Jolteon had already been taken, so had Crobat. And I think I still had the points for it, but I just wanted to go Aerodactyl. It gives me another Stealth Rocker, another Defogger. Gives me that base 130 speed stat. Let me look up its other stats. It's just really known for its speed and how annoying it can be. It has 80 HP, which isn't bad, 105 attack. Then its defenses are 65 and 75 respectively, and then 60 special attack. This thing will not lead the league in kills, but it's just another mon that your opponent has to prep for, because if you bring it, you could just run through them with things like Aerial Ace, Aqua Tail, Crunch. It even gets Dragon moves. It gets Fire Fang. If I wanted to, I can run Z-Fly. This thing just gets so many good tech moves that I could bring it, and my opponent might not have a switch in, just depending on what move I pick. So my next Pokemon was Flygon. I wanted a Dragon type to finish off my Fairy Dragon Steel Core. I almost went with Druddigon, but I needed something that could sweep. I didn't have good sweeping potential. I wanted something that could sit up and just run through my opponent's team. And I just felt like this was the best Dragon type left. That wasn't like a tier 2 or tier 1. I think the only dragons left besides this were in tier 4 and below, or in tier 1B, which I didn't want to go for. Just because of how many points I would have taken. I just felt like it wasn't worth it. And this thing gives me another Stealth Rocker and Defogger. Can be mixed with Draco Meteor, Dragon Claw, Dragon Dance, Flamethrower, Fire Punch, Iron Tail. Just so many different sets this thing can be run with. It's usually just a physically offensive mon, but it can do about anything. Just a great mon in general. And this is another one of those ones that your opponent has to prep for every week. Just because if you don't, it can rip through a team. Even though it needs a Mega Evolution. My next pick was Sneasel. So originally I had type Null, but right after the draft, I dropped it for this. During my drafting, I made a mistake, and I was like, yeah, I want to go Sneasel. But then by the time it got to me, I completely forgot that was in my draft plan. So after I went type Null, I was like, oh crap, I didn't mean that. I wanted Sneasel. 115 base speed, gives me Swords Dance. It's sometimes drafted in leagues where Weavile isn't. It's not as strong, but it's still only 10 speed slower, so you get things like Icicle Crush, Ice Spear, Knockoff, Pursuit, Swords Dance, just Poison Jab. It's just a little weaker than Weavile, but still does enough that can just rip through a team if you needed to. Focus Sash, Choice Band. It's just, people don't believe in it as much as they need to, in my opinion. I know people really like Sneasel, but I just really want to prove how strong it really can be. So my last pick, I went tier 5 Raichu. I just felt like there was nothing else in tier 5 I wanted. It gives me a Wish, another Wish Passer, T-Boat, Volt Switch, Surf. Gives me a Lightning Rod, so another thing to bring in against Electric Spam. It just gives me a lot of versatility and like Surf and Fly. Just moves that you wouldn't expect. And I'm just really like Raichu. Not the biggest Pikachu fan, but Raichu is still a pretty good mon with like Nasty Plot. So after this, I will show you what team everybody has drafted, and I want you to rank everybody's teams in the comments based on how good they are. So 1 being the best, 12 being the worst. As you see, I am in Division 2 with people like Bash of the New York Muse, Zombie Captains with the Boston Celebies, Max from the Netherlands Nino Kings, Will and the Hopes Peaks Gothitels, and Evan the Brighton Bronzors. In Division 1 is the owner of the league, ZDH with Atlanta Braviaries, Mystery Troop 00 with the Orlando Magikarp, VS367 with Miami Dusknors, Victor with the Dutch Swallows, Sky with the Tapu Locos, and Blitz with the Toronto Tyrannitars. So you can see how everybody has a good team, good offense. ZDH has a pretty scary team with a Mega Deontay, Kieran Black, with Galvantula, with Scizor. Just so many great mons under things like Sticky Web they're just great Pokemon. See, my Z-move users are Heatran, Yuxi, Flygon if I set up, Heatran if I see like my opponent has a really great bulky water that can just switch into me, just a Z Solar Beam, or maybe something like Z Sunny Day with the speed boost and then Solar Beam. Just so my fire types can do even more damage. And then Yuxi for things like Z Memento, which kills me, lowers the opponent's attack special attack by 2, but heals the Mon coming into 100%. So it's just better. Just helps that a little bit more. Well, anyway, guys, I hope you really like my draft. This should be weekly uploads. And each week, tell for this question of the day, rate how many wins do you think I'm going to have. This is a 10-week. So do you think I'm going to go 5-5, 6-4, or better or lower? So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.